40inbox.com here, and we're going to be reacting to Rachel Uchida claims Tiger Woods lawyers are after her for violating her $8 million NDA, meaning this Mistress signed an NDA and is now potentially losing everything. So let's get right into the story. So Tiger Woods' former mistress, Rachel Uchida, claims the golf star's lawyers want to go after her for violating an $8 million non-disclosure agreement by speaking out about their affair. The former nightclub hostess, 46, revealed that she had signed the more than 30-page NDA in 2009, shortly after she was outed for having an affair with the then-married athlete, the New York Times reported. His lawyers are saying, we want all your text messages and here's the price. And you're like, screw you, and you move into deal maker mode, and all of a sudden it's the rest of your life, Uchida told the newspaper. The agreement forbade her from directly or indirectly, verbally or otherwise discussing the golfer's lifestyle, proclivities, customs, private conduct, fitness, habits, certain matters, familial matters, among other topics, with anyone, including but not limited to family members, relatives, acquaintances, friends, associates, co-workers, journalists, the outlet reported. The arrangement also prevented her from telling anyone that she signed an NDA. So in return for her silence, she was given $5 million and a promise of an additional $3 million over the next 3 years, Uchida said. But in the end, Uchida claimed that she only pocketed $2 million of the original $5 million following taxes and lawyer fees, which has that the fault of Tiger Woods' lawyers and Tiger Woods, because you still got to pay taxes, right? So when it came time for the additional payouts, Uchida said Woods' team never followed through. Did that happen? Don't know. Did it not happen? Do not know. The thing is, this is like a he said, she said type of situation. So what she believes was behind the non-payments was that she appeared on Celebrity Rehab to address her supposed issues with male attention, the newspaper reported. She claimed she was called into arbitration by Woods' legal team, who allegedly demanded their $5 million settlement back from her. So basically, that means she did somehow break the NDA because they immediately tried to get the $5 million back from her. So more than a decade after the affair, Uchida says her relationship with Woods is still impacting her finances, career, mental health, and love life. But again, here's the thing, right? This whole situation is dirty. Straight up, this whole situation is dirty. The only thing is, if you sign an agreement, you stick to that agreement, right? Meaning, if you agreed to certain terms, then do those terms, right? And it seems like she did not follow through with her terms, which meant that the whole NDA agreement settlement basically was voided, meaning that she is on the hook for all that stuff. So she decided to speak out after producers approached her to appear in HBO's documentary Tiger in 2019. I've had it with NDAs, Uchida said. 10 years later, people were still talking about me as a player in a story I had never talked about. I felt like it was time to take the reins, she added. She filed soon after for Chapter 7 bankruptcy and was granted protection from creditors early this year, the newspaper reported. But after the documentary was released, she was contacted by one of Woods' lawyers, Michael Holtz. If you get a job, I'll come after your wages. If you get married, I'll go after your joint bank account. I will come after you for the rest of your life, she said he told her. Now, if that's what he actually said, that's pretty disturbing. But again, if you signed a legal agreement and you don't hold up what you signed up for, you are on the hook for it. So this means that, like, if she did in fact break that agreement where they already prepaid her for it, well, basically paid her for it, right? And she broke the agreement after she was already paid, she is on the hook for that. So Holtz, who argued that he wasn't properly notified about her bankruptcy cases, is now challenging her protection from creditors. A move that Uchito claims is so that he can bring a claim against her on his client's behalf for violating the NDA, the newspaper reported. She asked criminal lawyer Jeffrey Littman, who has represented clients such as El Chapo, for help earlier this year, and he agreed to contact Holtz on her behalf, the outlet reported. I felt badly for her, Littman told the newspaper. She had a consensual relationship with Woods, no more her fault than his, but after it was over, he was able to move on with his golf career while she was stuck with the stigma of being the other woman. And I understand that, right? Like, that's a perfectly understandable situation. The only problem is, again, if you sign an agreement, you have to stick to the agreement. Otherwise, you're liable, right? So this is like it can be a pretty serious situation if you agree to something and you don't do what you say that you're going to do, but you were already paid for it, right? So it's a very sticky situation, and you could kind of like, maybe make your own assumptions about this. If you like this sort of stuff, hit the like button. But one thing to really understand about this is that if you have your money in a very good foundation, none of this is really going to affect you. So what I mean by this is that whether it be for like Tiger Woods or for the Mistress lady, the one lady, what was her name again? Rachel Uchito. Like, regardless of who it is, right? If they have their finances set up in a certain way, none of this really matters, right? Like, for example, if she had her money right and she was basically debt-free, had money in the bank, and had money going in her investments before all this, then there would never have been a reason for her to sign an NDA for a payout, right? Because she probably knew that there's going to be stigma from it, and she wouldn't be like wanting this like massive amount of money kind of thing, because there's no need for her to have that. Right? Because here's the thing. After a certain point, if you're debt free, you got money in the bank, and you have money going towards investments, more money doesn't necessarily change your life that much, right? Meaning you're less likely to put yourself in a situation where you are basically getting rid of your freedom, right? So that's how that could end up helping her. Now for Tiger Woods, if he has his money set up correctly, he could technically offer an NDA with a $5 million settlement and take that risk, right? And take the risk of basically losing the $5 million if she agrees to it, right? So that's something to really think about as well. So his money was probably set up in a pretty well fashion to be able to basically pay her off, right? So you could pretty much assume that financially speaking, he is probably set up very well to be able to offer something like that to such a high extent of an NDA settlement, right? So just something to really keep in mind and think about, right? So if you need help with mastering your money, so you're never put in a situation where you're going to sign away off your freedom, go check out 40inbox.com to learn the secret to mastering your money. You'll learn how to get out of debt, put money in the bank, and learn how to invest so that you can live a better life and a more free life in the future. And we'll see you in future episodes. If you like this sort of content, hit the like button. Stay tuned for more. Either way, make sure you get your money right so that no one puts you in this type of situation.